Hello, welcome to Impact Code with Alex Ochre once again. So for this episode and the next few episodes to come, I'm going to deal with a very important topic, managing personal finances, essentially personal financial management. So what is financial management? Financial management essentially is sourcing for resources on one hand and applying those resources to achieve certain financial outcomes, right? So essentially you would know that to be able to do that, there must be some planning and actions that you have to take to source and to apply the resources to achieve the financial outcomes. So understanding personal finance is the first step towards achieving your financial security, right? So it involves managing your income, expenses, your savings, and investments effectively to achieve the outcomes that you expect. It all starts with setting personal finance goals. So, you need to determine where you want to get to, and then you devise the strategies and the activities, actions to take you from where you are to where you expect to go. So it all starts with setting financial objectives. Generally, in management, when someone is managing a business or managing any activity, it involves setting objectives for that activity, designing the plans and actions required to take you to the financial or the targets that you're looking for, implementing those actions, measuring results against the actions that you've implemented, and taking corrective measures against the actions that you've implemented. So it's the same thing. In personal finance management, you need to set clear financial objectives. Then design the plans, actions that are required to achieve those objectives. Go and implement those actions. Measure the results against the plans or the actions that you've implemented, and take corrective measures. So I'll take you through all these various steps, but first we'll start with setting the goals or setting the financial objectives itself, and then the plans. The planning and the actions are a lot. There are a lot of things that we'll go through, not even in this personal finance management topics, but also after that. Certain strategies, plans, and things that you can implement towards financial security. So we'll go through all those. But now, I'm just going to take you through an overview of managing personal finances. In the Bible, Jesus speaking in Luke chapter 14, verses 28, says, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counts the cost, whether you have sufficient money to finish," right? So it's telling you that before you do anything, right, you need to first have set your objectives and count the costs. Have plans to help you achieve those objectives, right? So how do you set financial goals? I have defined financial objectives as specific financial destinations or outcomes or results that you desire over the short, medium, and long term, right? So the destination, the financial destination, the financial outcome, the financial results that you desire over the short, medium, and long term, those are your financial objectives. So two main categories of objectives that you need to set when it comes to personal financial management. And I've broken them down into two areas, broad areas. So you need to set objectives around financial activity, and then also set objectives around financial position. So it's your financial activity on one side, and then your financial position on the other side. So what do I mean by financial activity? So those are the day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year financial activities. And mind you, I said that financial management is sourcing for resources, applying the resources to achieve certain outcomes, right? So financial activity, your day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year activities, that brings you income, where you incur expenditure, and where you have surplus, which is the excess of your income over expenditure. So you need to set objectives around your income, expenditure, and your surplus. Surplus is the excess of income over expenditure. Then you need to set objectives also around your financial position. So your financial position is more of your asset financial position at any particular point in time, right? In accounting, we say balance sheet asset. So it's a snapshot of where you are when we take a measurement of your financial position at a particular point in time. Where are you? Where do we find you? So those are measured in terms of your assets, your liabilities, and your net worth, right? So your assets, liabilities, net worth. Net worth is just the excess of your assets over your liabilities. So when we talk about activities, we're talking about income, expenditure, and the excess of your income over your expenditure is surplus. The reverse is deficit, right? And then when we talk about your financial position, the assets, we're talking about assets and liabilities, and net worth, which is the excess of your assets over your liabilities. Over a period of time, your financial activities will determine your financial position, and then that will determine your financial health. So when we take a snapshot of your current financial position, that would have been influenced by the various activities over a period of time that has brought you to that financial position. And that is a measure of your financial health. So if you have more assets than liability, then the more assets you have over liabilities, the better your financial health, right? So it means that you need to engage in activities that bring more income than expenditure. So you create surplus over a period of time. The surplus is what you will save and invest to get assets, and then liabilities, which then determines your net worth, which is your financial position, and then your financial health. We'll continue. So like I mentioned, you need to set objectives around these 6 items. So you need to determine financial values over a period of time. What income do you want to make? What do you see your expenditures being like? And then surplus is just a derivative from that. What do you expect your financial position to be? What assets do you want to own? What do you expect your liabilities to be? And the difference is your net worth. So you would understand that in order to come up with these objectives, you need to create what I call personal financial plan. Personal financial plan. I mean, you can call it personal budget. The budget is mostly looked at over a 1-year period. So you can imagine a longer plan, say 5-year financial plan, for instance, will be a personal financial plan. So it has to go along the same lines, right? So your budget, which is more like your plan for 1 year, or your 5-year financial plan, will go according to the same lines: the financial activities, financial position. So your financial plan would define your income sources, right? Will define your income sources, and then you put value to those sources. Then you list your expenses, your expenditure, what you intend to spend on. And then you also determine your financial position, your assets, your liabilities, and your net worth. So this is a simple personal financial plan for, let's say, I've done this for 5 years, right? So if you look at the statement, so there are 2 statements here: your personal income statement, or let me say your personal projected income statement, and your personal projected financial position. So this is the plan I'm talking about. So over the next, everybody should have a 5-year, 10-year, depending on the horizon that works for you, a a 5-year financial plan. 5 years is good enough. So projected personal income statement for year 1 to year 5. And you list all the income sources. So let's say you're employed, the salaries you expect to get over those 5 years, with what you're doing, how you expect to be promoted and grow in your career and earn, certain amounts of income, your income from any side hustle that you have, income from any investment that you've done, and any other, income sources that you have. Then you also list your expenditures, your rent, utilities, groceries, estimates of how you expect that to be over the next 5 years. Then that will influence your personal financial position. You need to project based on the activities that you're engaging in for the next financial years, next 5 years. This is where you expect your financial position to be. So year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So you break them down into assets and liabilities. Like I mentioned, the difference is your net worth. So this is essentially your ambition, your setting objectives and saying, when it comes to income, this is what I want to have over the next 5 years. When it comes to expenditure, this is what I want over the next 5 years. When it comes to my personal financial position, this is where I'm projecting to be the next 5 years. This is your objectives and where you want to be, let's say, in the next 5 years. So when I talk about objectives, this is how it's crystallized in a statement like this: income sources, expenditure, assets, liabilities. Then you need to now think about, after you've put down these financial objectives, how are you going to achieve this? Right? So like I mentioned, financial management, it's determining objectives, where you want to be, designing the plans, activities, actions, strategies that will get you to that position, executing them and coming back to check against the plan and taking corrective measures. Right? So the next step actually is the plans, the actions, the activities. I mean, that's so broad, right? And could be very specific depending on who we are talking about, what industry you work in. Are you self-employed? Are you an employee in which organization and all that? And there are a lot of things that we can go through, strategies, plans, actions on your income and your expenditure. I mean, that subject will come later after I deal with this overview, where I will take you through some strategies on how to improve your income, how to manage your expenses, and how to improve your net worth, essentially. So you need to design actions, activities, strategies to get you to that financial plan that you have. And one thing you should also understand is that that plan is a live document, right? So you need to be adjusting and refining it as you go along, as you action those strategies and plans, you have to measure them back against the plans and take corrective measures. So the 5-year plan is dynamic. I mean, we say that budgets are fluid and must be adjusted regularly to align with changes in your income and expenses, right? You need to reflect on your financial goals from time to time as you execute them, to be sure that they remain relevant and achievable, right? And then in doing all this, there's something called financial discipline, right? So you've set a plan along your revenues or your income, expenditure, liabilities, and assets. You need a lot of discipline to stick to the plan. Because if you're going to get to that financial position that you desire, which brings financial security, you need a lot of discipline and stick to that budget. Nothing should sway you from those plans. Go and deliver, right? I can give you an example in my personal life. So when I was in the university, and talking to older folks who were in industry and practicing accounting, I realized that if I want to earn more, if I want to get more money after school practicing accounting, I need to be a chartered accountant, right? So right from, like I mentioned in another episode, right from the university, I started writing my ACCA from level 100. By the time I was level 300, I had finished. And it took a lot of discipline. So we were writing mostly the ACCA exams in June and in December. Mostly school will vacate around May. So when school has vacated and people are gone, a lot of my friends who travel abroad to go and do what they used to call any work, get money, I'll stay on campus and read because I was going to write ACCA, which is even thought to be more difficult than the degree I was doing. So if I was using 30 minutes to learn for degree, I need to, for instance, use 1.5 hours to learn for ACCA. And all the time I had after finishing the semester in May was 1 month to June to write those exams. So you can imagine, so the intensity right after school the semester has ended, we switched to ACCA. And I was with a group of friends. We will learn, we stay on campus, we will not go anywhere because you need to really learn. That is the kind of discipline I'm talking about. But I saw ahead because I wanted to earn more. I wanted to be ahead of my peers. Once we finished university and we started working, most of my peers now started writing ACCA. At that time, I'd finished, and I was working in PricewaterhouseCoopers. In PricewaterhouseCoopers, they would give you steady leave to go and write, but the pay differential was so much. Someone who had chartered and someone was still a student of ACCA, the difference in salary was much. So that's what I'm talking about. When you set an objective, you know where you want to get to, where you want to be, you need to have a lot of discipline. And don't be swayed by anything. Just focus and deliver the action that you're looking for. So in this financial management, if you like, overview, I'll give some few tips here and there around income expenditure, but I'll deal with them individually in future episodes.